Hey, good morning. I've just had such powerful insights over the last few days. Yesterday, I was feeling so funky fresh. I was feeling real bad. And the craziest things start happening to me now because all that I've been listening to, words don't teach, only life experience teaches, which is hilarious. I just realized that's the lesson on my little flip book. It says, words don't teach. True knowing comes from life experience, and that is the reason we're all continually engaging in life experience. But we offer these words that they might stimulate your thinking, that through your thoughts you may draw life experience that will bring you to a clearer understanding or to more knowing. Truly, a teacher is a stimulator of thought. Seeking a beginning place is not an easy thing to do, for each of us is at a different point of understanding. There's not a specific order to learning or to growth. Each of us at our current point of understanding or from our current perspective set our thoughts into motion, and they attract life experience. And from that life experience, we draw our knowing. That's hilarious, but that's the message. Because I'm just sitting here, and that's what's happening for me here is words. I've been listening to so many words, and suddenly it's becoming real for me as I live it. I'm beginning to realize this whole thing about ask and it is given. I'm realizing what that really looks like. It's not word requests I'm putting out. I almost don't even know what I've been asking until the answer comes in, and the answers are coming quickly now. And the answer will come and I'll be like, oh, that's totally what I was asking. Or that's why I was looking into that. Or that's why I was researching this for this answer that now has come to me in another way. I'm realizing the delicate nuance between feeling called to do something versus being, I'm so strong in being motivated and pushing through and being effective and productive that shifting to being inspired or called is a process. It feels so different. And I almost want to say it feels wrong for someone who's such an achiever or motivated as me, in the way of pushing through, which is the wrong energy space. And I'm realizing, like yesterday, feeling so funky fresh. A million times I've heard Abraham say, things are going to shift for you, where you're going to realize contrast isn't bad, which is, when you're feeling sort of crappy. And you're going to start to take the balance much faster and realize that it's going to serve you, and you're going to shift from the problem to the solution much faster. And yesterday I felt it. I was feeling funky fresh, but I didn't get as involved. I was like, it's just an off day. I must be asking for things, and tomorrow's going to be better, and I'm going to have a lot of clarity. And here I am. It happened. Because I'm in conflict about this channel in some ways, because I started it to simply share my stuff, my journey here. And I didn't even know why I wanted to do it. Why create a YouTube and share it if I don't want anyone to watch it? That doesn't even make logical sense. I'll just keep it in my phone or in the cloud, and I can watch it later. So obviously I knew there was more to it, but at the same time, I didn't expect people to like or follow this fast at all. And I didn't expect to love the people that are following or subscribing so fast. And suddenly people are really drawn to the readings and the lessons, which I never really planned to do. I just started to share it because it's something I do every day, and people love that. And so I'm like, well, maybe I should just do that, forgetting my point that, and thankfully I have a very loving husband who reminds me that I created this channel for me so I could share. I didn't create it for anyone. I'm not here to sell anybody anything. I'm not here to be a coach or get clients or a guru or be anything. Really, I'm not. I don't, or even make money or anything. This is like a hobby, just something I've been wanting, I feel called to do. I don't know why. And maybe that is inspiration versus motivation. But I'm still exploring that because I'm used to purposeful motivation. And so I don't completely get that conversation, especially when I look stupid, okay? But when I read this and it says a teacher is a stimulator of thought, that I can align with. I can align with just being a stimulator of thought, because there's nothing I dislike more than being on a pedestal. And it's interesting because when you put yourself out there, everybody does the whole one-upmanship game. I was listening to the Alan Watts book thing I read again yesterday, and it's like, I'm either better than you or I'm worse than you, better than you or worse than you. And when you put yourself out there on video, most people will assume they're better than you and judge the crap out of you. But some people, I guess especially if you're bringing material from the masters and sharing insights on it, will then suddenly pedestal you and be like, you're so amazing. And of course that feels better. than the judgment. You have to be humble enough to be like, okay, people are, if they're looking down on me because of this, then that's their own come from. That's where they're at with themselves. It has nothing to do with me. But putting me on a pedestal, I don't like that either. But I'm creating this odd dichotomy now, because it's like you share the spiritual material and some people will watch that and put me on a pedestal. And my fear is maybe they'll have a breakthrough or an insight, and then they'll see a check-in video and be like, holy crap, this girl's insane and messy. And I'm not, but it's how we're not used to seeing both. And at first it's going to seem like a stark contrast for folks, I think. Because I've been taught all the business side and the coaching side, and, you know, I've been in business and branding and marketing, and, you know, you always only show the good stuff and you keep the mess off and you bridge the gap all the time between the two. So even with compliance, it was like, we built this beautiful policy. This is what we're doing. This is how we get brands. This is how we get clients. We know that's not how our supply chain is, but we constantly bridge the gap. And this is just how everyone does it. And that's how it's done. And I hated it. I felt very dishonest and inauthentic in that. To me, I was like, well, we're not there, and that's not the reality, and we could be found out, and there's a lot of money. Like, you know, I ran a $250 million business. There's millions and millions of dollars on the line. And of course, they've probably never been found out, and I could have done it forever and made millions and millions of dollars, but it didn't feel right to me. And it's the same. They've taken the same thing and applied it to coaching. All right, design yourself, build a brand, build an us versus them, build your message, and only ever show that. Only ever run the brand on your, you know, and you can watch all the YouTube, you know, even channels that'll teach you how to build a channel. Have consistent content and, you know, do this and, you know, be consistent. But that's not what I'm here to do. And I don't like that. Put up a facade, have a mess in the background, and bridge the gap. Isn't that what everyone's doing right now in life? And isn't it exhausting? We're even doing it on Facebook. And those are supposed to be our friends and our family. Who are we putting this show on for? Who are we being the genuine fake for? Ourselves at the end of the day. That's what we're doing. And we're not building a fake facade and keeping the mess back here and bridging the gap. Let's be honest. We are creating a gap. And then we are lost in the void of that gap, and we don't know why. We're the ones creating a void between who we really are, which is a very complex being. We have nice sides, mean sides, happy sides, funny sides. We're emotional, we're up, we're down. I have hormones once a month. I have a large variety of emotions all the time. I've made mistakes, things I'm proud of, things I'm ashamed of. There's all of this makes up a human. That's everybody. We're not just one thing. You're not just spiritually enlightened. And that's the trap, for example, that Alan fell into. I've studied these people and I felt really called to look at their demise. And it's very telling. And even in coaching, I learned this. You know, I used to always believe what people told me, and I couldn't figure out when they would really let me down with that. And then in coaching, I learned how to hear the whole person, that we give ourselves away in our language all the time. And you can begin to hear people in a whole way and who they're really saying they are in everything that they say. And I'm realizing you can do the same with people's writings and their books. And Alan, for example, I'll go into them all in another video, but gave himself away in a million different ways in his writing. He's always talking about being a genuine fake, and that's how he felt. He's always talking about who guards the guards, who breaks down the ego of the person who's breaking down everyone's ego, because the biggest morphing of an ego in the ego game is being able to best everybody else's ego. Anyone could have come to talk to him, and he would have been able to ask them the right questions to help them break through their ego and help them feel a little stupid and humiliate them in a way, which people don't want to hear that, but the gate to humility is humiliation. I hate to break it to you. Nobody wants to be humiliated. Nobody wants to live through that. I have, and I'll share it. And it's amazing. It's amazing where it gets you to, because that's where you really get through your ego. And I realized as I was coming to this place yesterday, being like, maybe I shouldn't share check-in videos and I shouldn't share the mess and I should just share the good stuff and just, you know, be that brand or share what people enjoy. And why do I need to share what's behind the scenes or the process? Because that's my whole point. Because I don't want to create a gap. I want to be all me. I want to have the vibration. And because I realize too that when we do this, when we become a facade, we aren't actually selling the facade. People aren't learning from the facade. They are getting the vibration. We have a whole world now of facades. All everyone's doing. And if you look on Facebook, you'll see they're generally, or any social media site, they generally fall into two categories. My life is so perfect and amazing, or my life is terrible and I'm sick all the time and I'm pathetic and everybody help me. And they almost get more comments because it's the game of one-upman, right? And they're below us, and we all love that. We all want to feel like we can help someone who's below us, and we all do it. But I want to share about it because I want to break through that. I want to be open and honest about that. I want to read this material and take it and be like, this is what I'm doing with it today. And this is what it revealed to me today. Most likely that's just my ego wanting to put on a perfect show, because if I put on a perfect show, then I will only feed the ego, and I will only feed other people's egos. And you can get really rich doing that right now, and you can get famous, and you can look really cool. And a lot of people say you inspired them and changed their lives, and you didn't. You just helped them live a better fake one. And it's not what I'm about. It's just not. It's never made me happy. And I was actually getting really sad about it yesterday. And my hubby's so great, and he sat me down and he said, look, he said, if it doesn't feel good, then it's not right. And you made this channel for you. And even if you care about the people, you need to just not care about them watching, though. Send them love, send them prayers, but you're doing this for you and what feels right to you. And I got that, and I get that, because I want the whole person. And I don't want to be another facade that's just giving out, because we're contagious. If only we knew we were contagious, I think we wouldn't do it so much. If we knew that when we're faking it and keeping our mess back here, we're not doing anything other than causing other people to do that. And we all know that the biggest messes hide behind the most beautiful facades. Do we need an example other than the Catholic Church? That's exactly what's going on there. Beautiful, rituals, beautiful faith, beautiful churches, beautiful this, beautiful that. And we're preying on children. It doesn't get any darker, and the contrast doesn't get any starker. But we could use, CEOs who claim to be awesome and are taking all the money from the company. We could use politicians who claim to be there for you, but are actually just there for their own self-interest. It's everywhere. But we don't even want our politicians to be honest. We know they're banging hookers and taking bribes and insider trading. But if they were to tell us and admit to it, we wouldn't want anything to do with them. Even if they were to tell us and say all the things they did to make it right, so it isn't something they want to do anymore, and gave us the whole story about their rehabilitation and how they've regained their character, I still think at this point, we wouldn't want anything to do with them. We dump them in the bucket as broken and done. And we want the politicians that do it but don't admit it, because that's where we're at with ourselves. We do it, but we don't want to admit it. And someone who comes out and admits it ain't going to be very popular. But I'm contagious, and I'm powerful, and you can't get rid of me. Because this is where happiness comes from. And it's not about dragging our past with us. Let me be very clear. It is important to leave the past behind. But when you take your past and what you're ashamed of and you shove it in a drawer and pretend like it didn't happen, you didn't get rid of it. In fact, you bring it with you. The same way Neville says it causes dis-ease. The things that aren't said, the things that aren't processed out. This is what happens. It lives within us. It creates disease. It creates cancer. And what are we when we're depressed than ever? It creates depression. It creates fear, anxiety, because we know we're not being real. We know we're putting on an image, and what if we're found out? Oh my God, what if I'm found out? Maybe I really don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I really don't belong here. And that's that insecurity of not being a whole person. You know you're being a fake, doll image, 2D person, a genuine fake, and it doesn't feel right. And so you never feel real, or like you really deserve what you have, or really in your own body. In order to really leave our past behind, and I'm going to do this here, and it scares the poop out of me, but F it. I have some stuff in my past I don't like, but I'm going to be getting a job now, and I'm really excited about that, but I'm really afraid of certain conversations around that. I have a background check issue, and I've been working at jobs below where I should be for a long time because I don't want to have that conversation because it's shameful. And there's a very fine line between being vulnerable and being in shame. And in shame, everybody shuts down, because if I'm being in shame, I'm contagious, and everybody has shame. And when you tag people's shame, they shut down. Brene Brown has really good stuff on that. And you could go listen to her if you want to learn about shame rather than listening to me blab on about it. But vulnerability attracts people and opens people up. And so this will be practice for me. Am I going to do it from shame? Am I going to do it from vulnerability? But I'm going to share it here, and then I'm going to leave it here, because this is integration. To take our past, accept what happened, integrate it, and then let it go. And Abraham talks a lot about just leave the past behind, just rewrite the story. But I think they're missing the point that sometimes you can't. You need to integrate it. Because what happens is in the integrating and letting it go, so it'll be on here, but I'm not going to talk about it anymore after that, it brings humility. There's a piece of humiliation that leads to humility. And that bests the ego game. And I've been through a lot of that. And I understand the deep emotional benefit of humility and chinking away at the ego by not looking cool all the time. I receive the benefit. Whether other people do or not is irrelevant. I'm receiving the benefit of this channel. And I want to be a whole, authentic person on video, which sounds hilarious, but it's a method we have now, and it's a powerful one, of contagious vibration, of helping others to be whole themselves and realize that it's the gateway to happiness. Maybe we can't get rid of the ego, but we could balance it. We could balance it with my whole self. They say you have two wolves, you're good and you're bad. There's that American Indian saying we have two wolves and you decide which one to feed. But the reality is we don't have two wolves. You have like 50 wolves. We have so many sides. We're such complex people. And this idea that we have two is absurd. And we can choose which ones to feed, but feeding all of them is part of it. I met so many people like, I'm a good person. I'm like, no, you can be a good person. You can also be probably a real pain in the butt. All of us can. And trying to pretend to be nice all the time or good all the time, again, it gives disease. And I want to be all of it. And I want to take this stuff because anyone can read this stuff and sound good and regurgitate it and look good on camera. Anyone. Not everyone can be it or take it and live it or has the balls to share the process of integrating it and being it. I've met so many people that can talk all those spiritual stuff, but you meet them and their vibration is not this stuff. But it's all they talk and it's all they speak, and they'll get clients and they'll, help people, but they aren't it. They don't get it at a beingness level. And so that's not what's contagious. And maybe that's what was eating Alan up. Maybe he saw that the people weren't getting from his message what he was actually saying, but he didn't know that it was because he wasn't living it, that he wasn't able to be contagious with it. He was being contagious with what he was, which was more sort of ego and I'm smarter than you, a very intellectual person. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't change the incredible power of his message, and we're going to stand on his shoulders. I certainly am. I'm going to take what he learned, and I'm also going to see what he missed so that I can integrate it in a different way. I'm going to share the messiness of the journey, that this is being a real person, and this is what it looks like. You're going to study this material, and then you're going to take it, and you're going to try, and it's going to suck sometimes. Sometimes it's going to suck. And if you judge that, then you can't be with yourself when things suck. You judge yourself when things suck. And if you're not really being with the times where you're in pain or things suck, then you're not able to get your growth because you're constantly resisting your growth. You're constantly saying, okay, I can't leave this. I can't really be this bad day. I can't really get what I'm asking for in this day. I have to resist it and not be it or judge it. And I'm just going to hide from the world, or I'm going to drink, or I'm going to watch TV all day, or whatever we do to hide. We all have serious hiding behaviors and checking out and avoiding behaviors. And I'll just avoid what's happening emotionally until it shifts. And we're missing all the good stuff there. And in this, I've been so present with everything I'm experiencing, the super good and the super bad. And I'm getting this relationship between the two and how rich and juicy both are. And I'm never going to be in just one. I mean, because I think when you start to resist it, you end up at the lower vibration scale more and more because you're not letting it flow and you're not understanding that there's an asking happening that helps you bounce up. There's a bounce down, bounce up. It's like a wave. We go up, we go down. We go up, we go down. You can't have the up without the down. And if you just want to have the up and you resist the down, you end up actually being at the down more because that's the vibration you're not letting pass through you and move. There's an energetic thing. There's a movement here. There's a lot of things to add. I'm learning. I've got my little list going of various things we need to really have a cohesive experience of happiness. There's this great saying, right? You can be right or you can be with. And I'm going to add to that. I'm going to be like, you can be right and miserable, or you can be with and happy. And so whether we're putting someone above us or below us, and every single person we meet, that's being right about how we have it. That person's better than me. That person's an idiot. And we're bucketing them and we're keeping them there. And people aren't that way. We met them in that moment. They were having an experience. People go through painful things. They do stupid things. People go through great things. They have awesome things. They're going to go up and down too. None of it is all the whole story. So don't keep them there, and don't keep yourself there. And I'm not going to keep myself here, but I am going to share the whole journey because it matters to me. Because I have said it, but I am about authenticity and the whole person, and it starts with me. And it starts with taking this stuff and integrating it, reading it and sharing about it. So yesterday it was rough. Today's different. I'm not flying super high, but I'm feeling a whole lot better. And realizing what this journey is about, and the more I can get my footing with the asking and receiving and the listening and feeling called, something different is going to emerge. And I know that now. But I don't know all of it or what it's going to look like. And I'm not going to try to wrest it and, wrestle it to the ground and kill it either. It's not my job. I'm not going to be some marketing guru here with myself or branding or anything like that. I'm going to run a lot of different content on my channel. So because I'm a very diverse person, and this channel is my whole person and my whole journey to happiness and all the pieces. So if it's playing, if it's being silly, if it's bunnies, if it's crying, if it's whatever it is, or feeling inspirational today, or feeling messy today, or my hair's done today, or it isn't today, that's all of it. And it's not going to be consistent. It's not just spiritual teaching messages. I can make a playlist of that, but that's not just going to be what I am, because it's not all of who I am. It's working out. It's getting a job. It's going to be going back to school. It's going to be, learning to be married and breeding bunnies, and all kinds of different things are going to show up here, because it's all the impassioned putts. It's all Emily. It's all me. And my message with that will be that there is a whole person in each of us. And it's through the balance and the integration and the connection, and no longer hiding any of it, that eliminates the gap between me and me, so that I can experience true joy. So I don't have a void that I get caught in of who am I and where am I. How many people do we know that spent their whole lives as professionals? My dad, super big professional, PhD, all this stuff, has no personality now that he's retired. No idea what he wants to do. No connection to anything or anyone. My mom was all mom. All mom. She put everything else on the back burner. Doesn't know how to be something else other than a mom. It's all only wolves she fed. And I know a lot of people that are that way. Or they fed the pro and the mom, right? But we don't have time for hobbies, and we don't have time for personal development or spiritual development or mood balancing or meeting our own needs or asking, why am I here? And then you end up on your deathbed going, oh, holy crap, why am I here? What was I supposed to do? It wasn't to have the job and have the kids. But now it's too late. Now you're on your deathbed, and you'll find out more next time. And now you're going to die in that void, the sadness in that void. And so there's a piece here of stopping the externalization of I'm a job, I'm a parent, I'm a this, I'm a that, whatever label it is. I'm someone who's fit, I'm someone who eats right, I'm someone who likes to shop, I'm someone who drives fast, I'm someone who speaks well, I'm someone who doesn't speak well, I drink too much, I don't drink. All these zillions of labels are tiny pieces of a giant, cohesive, complex being. And the real thing that I think so many people are asking for in the defining of themselves as a million different things. And now we're seeing I'm defining myself as transgender or a million different sexualities or whatever it is. We're looking for what we really are, and to avoid the question of who we really are and why we're really here. And I'm diving into that question wholeheartedly, because I think it's the only question that matters. And it's the only thing that I find, I find a lot of things super interesting, but I find it to be a different level of interesting and important. And integrating a person wholly into who they are. You're not just a wife or a husband or a mother or a kid. We're all the things. And we're so overworked and overstimulated and overchecked out. Don't you want to be in your own life? And don't you want to know who you are and how you tick? And there is no there to get to, is the hilarious thing. We're not going to get there. I'm not going to get there. I realize that. But I can get to a really good place and have a different level of understanding. And I don't have to use it to get paid. I can just use it to really extra enjoy my life. And just being around people will help them. Just my presence will help people become more of who they want to be without me having to do anything or say anything, charge anything. I don't need them to be sick. I don't need them to need me. I don't need them to think I'm smart. They don't even have to know me. It's just going to be in me and my contagious vibration to be authentic, to be whole, to stand for who they are, to ask the big questions, and to find happiness. That's really going to be who I am. I want to vibe with the conversation of happiness and inviting people to it, whatever it looks like for them. And I think I've rambled on long enough. I've gotten the clarity that I was looking for about why I'm doing this and why I'm going to share everything and how it's all going to work together. And then at the end of the day, I'm doing it for me, and how it serves will become evident in some other way that's out of my control and not really my business. So anyway, thanks for listening if you did. Otherwise, hopefully this will go out into the algorithm airwaves and keep doing what it does. Have a great day.